that. Hope you had a fabulous holiday weekend. The NBA Finals are set. Boston gets blown out at home. Miami gets the job done. Now it's Miami at Denver. Stanley Cup Finals are going to be getting underway this weekend with Florida at Vegas. We've got more controversy in our ballparks because teams do stupid things. We can talk about that and a lot more. Hope you had a chance to check out my podcast today. If you don't like that, I talk about a very sensitive, controversial topic as it relates to transgender athletes, particularly trans women competing in women's sports. Kyle, sorry about your C's, but here's the bottom line. It is the three ball. When you make threes, you generally win. When you don't shoot the three ball, well, you're going to lose. All right. Well, hello to you. All right. So here we are at open forum Q&A. Give me your questions. Let's get this rolling. Tomorrow, I will have my open forum Wednesday over on Listen App. But so glad that you are with me here on these various platforms. All right. As far as the NBA goes, I mean, I don't know what else to say that you haven't probably seen yourself right now as it relates to the Celtics, okay? It was embarrassing, plain and simple. It was embarrassing. And if you are a Boston fan today, I can't even imagine how you feel after watching your Bruins, the best overall seed in the NHL this year, lose to an 8-seed Florida Panthers, and now watching an 8-seed Miami Heat come into the Garden and win that game as well. Got to be tough to swallow. No doubt about that. Cody asks, do I think we will see NFL teams tanking to get the number one overall pick? I don't. And the reason why I don't is what we saw last year at the last game of the season with Houston, going for two and trying to win the game, because the players that are on the field, they don't give a damn. All right? They don't give a damn about draft picks. They don't care. So you have to put a team out there, and the reality is the players on the field are always going to try to win. All right? Someone said, Grant, glad your buddy Russo told ESPN to pump the brake on the Jets. Did he? I didn't hear that. What did my good buddy say? What did my buddy dog say? Said they're going overboard on the Jets? And Chris told them to hold their horses? Is that right? I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Give me some more details on that. But it does not surprise me. It really doesn't. All right, what do you want to talk about today? Fire away. Throw me some questions, and we will get right into it. Hockey, I can't wait. I was watching mostly hockey last night as opposed to the NBA. Love watching Stanley Cup hockey, and what Vegas did to Dallas, destroying them 6-0. They had a 3-0 lead after one. They took control of that game early, but love that from the Vegas Knights, and I'm really pulling for them. I will just share with you that I've watched George McPhee since he was in college, since he was a freshman. His work ethic, his commitment to getting an education while he played Division I hockey. He was the Hobey Baker Award winner, which is the equivalent of the Heisman. Went on and played for the Rangers, the Devils, and the Jets. Went to law school. Got his first hockey job working in Vancouver as Pat Quinn's right-hand man. They lost in the Stanley Cup Finals in '94 to the Rangers. And then George got the opportunity to be the GM of the Washington Capitals, and he put that whole team together. He drafted Alex Ovechkin, and after 17 years, they went in a different direction. And George, for a few years, was kind of freelancing. He did some work with Garth Snow and the Islanders, but he really spent a lot of time in watching his son Graham come up through the ranks. Graham currently in the Edmonton Oilers organization right now, albeit in the minor leagues. And George was very, very close to getting the job in Boston, and he was one of the two finalists, and he lost out. And then he got the job in Vegas, and he put that entire team together via the draft and trades, and they went to the Stanley Cup Finals in their first year, and they lost to the team that he had put together, Washington. And now here we are 6 years later, and a chance for my real close friend in life to have the Stanley Cup in his hands and cherish that with everyone in that organization. I am really, really pulling for him. I really am. All right, this question. Is there any scenario you see that you could come back? It's just not the same without you. You hyped up all of us during the games. You're so missed. Well, thank you very much. I'm leaving every single door open. I can't hire myself, but I'm keeping every opportunity open. Will the A's win 50 games this year? How bad are the A's? How embarrassing is that? Seriously, how absolutely embarrassing. All right, somebody asked, would I rather have Mikal Bridges or Chris Middleton? Boy, that's a great question. That's a great question. 6 one half dozen the other. Probably Middleton, but you could convince me the other way. All right. Is Nick Nurse a good move? Well, he has James Harden on his team. The answer is it won't matter. I got to be honest with you. If James Harden's on Philadelphia, will it matter? I mean, Nick Nurse is a good coach. We got that. All right, thoughts on Sasha, the European MVP player. Listen, I think he can play in the NBA, but I've talked to a couple of scouts in Europe, and they don't think he's anything special as it translates into the NBA. So my thoughts on him, could he be a role player? Yes. Is he a starter? Not based on what the scouts have told me, but that doesn't mean you can't be a good player. So he can shoot the ball very well. We know that. But again, the scouts that I've talked to that have watched him play on a fairly consistent basis tell me that they don't think he's going to be anything special in the NBA. All right. If I could pick one free agent to bring to the Kings this offseason, who would it be? Well, I can't answer that just yet because I don't know the full list of free agents. All right. So I have to wait and see. I mean, I think we know what the Kings need. We've talked about this with Jerry Reynolds. And if they're able to go out and fulfill that via free agency or an exception, then they'll be better. All right. No question. I think it doesn't have to be a huge name. In other words, you don't have to get that star. First of all, you're not going to be able to afford that player, but you need to get somebody that you already know can play. In other words, you don't have to wonder when you acquire them. You know what you're getting. You have a pretty good idea of how that individual is going to fit into the team. And so I believe they'll be able to do that. I really do. I believe they'll be able to do that. All right. So here's a question. Can you see Jordan Poole and DeAndre Ayton being traded for each other as being a viable option? Golden State needs a big and Phoenix needs to move on from CP3. Well, I don't think you get an equal value. I think DeAndre Ayton's much more valuable than Jordan Poole. So I think you'd have to, add something in the mix there. I thought Poole was terrible in the playoffs. Yes, I saw that too. It is Jordy Fernandez. You're talking about the Kings lead assistant, who is, I guess, a finalist in Phoenix. Listen, I'm not one to dwell on losing assistant coaches. I'm just not. I think that there are a lot of good quality coaches in the NBA. And if you have good players, generally coaches will be better. So I'm not really caught up on whether the Kings lose him or not. Like, I don't think it's going to be like a major setback. And that's absolutely no disrespect to Jordy Fernandez, who is heralded by many and is considered a very good coach. I'm not slighting him. I'm just saying I don't think it will affect the bottom number, which is wins and losses. All right. So, Cody, my thoughts on Bob Myers is he's had an amazing run. He obviously is extremely good at what he does. I think the Warriors' window is closing as we speak, mainly because Steph Curry is going to start coming down the other side of the mountain. And I think we've already seen that with Klay Thompson. And I think when you lose and when Steph Curry becomes a star instead of a superstar, then the Warriors are no longer a championship caliber team. So I look at the Warriors, and maybe this past year was the end of their run. All right. Maybe the end of their run. I mean, I think the way they lost to the Lakers, I think you kind of saw that the era, the dynasty, really, which has been the Golden State Warriors. Let's not kid anybody. They're a dynasty. They're a dynasty. I think we saw the end of that dynasty. Good question on DeAndre Hopkins. Whoever gets him is going to get a talented receiver. No question. I would think we're going to find out about that fairly soon. Hey, I want to say thank you to New Works Plumbing of Sacramento. Locally owned for over 20 years, New Works has a fix for you. And remember, if you are in a situation where you have a problem in the middle of the night, no problem. New Works has 24/7 service. Just go to sacserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. So happy that you are here on our open forum Q&A. If you have not yet subscribed, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, like the show, give me a thumbs up, and it would really mean a lot to me. My thoughts on the NHL Finals. Well, you know, I can't be completely objective on this. This would mean the world to me to see my close friend, George McPhee, win the Stanley Cup. I've seen the disappointment in George when they lost in '94 in Vancouver. I saw the disappointment when they lost in Washington, when they made it to the NHL Finals with Ole the goalie. I saw the huge disappointment in losing 5 years ago to the Washington Capitals. George is a great, great hockey man, one of the best. And what he has done in Vegas is absolutely remarkable in putting that team together. So my thoughts are, I'm really hoping that they're able to win. Now, as far as both of them winning a championship, I would agree with you on that. But I want to get back to my hockey thought here for a minute. I wonder if Vegas playing games 5 and 6 after being up 3-love is not actually good for them. If I'm looking at this from the Panthers' perspective, with the Stanley Cup Finals not beginning until Saturday, I think they've had too much time off. They breezed through the conference finals, and they've been off a long time. They had a hot goalie in Bobrovsky. They've got players like, Tkachuk that are really hot, and now you don't play for a week and a half. I think that's too much, I think that's too much. As far as Bob Myers, he's one of the best. He's not going to be out of work too long. He's really, really good at what he does. And so I think people saw the writing on the wall. And I think Bob Myers is leaving at the perfect time, to be honest with you. He put that dynasty together, not all by himself. Larry Riley, the previous GM, had his footprint on that as well. But Bob Myers, a hell of a job. Did an excellent job. And he'll get a job. And again, I think he's leaving at a perfect time. All right, fire away. Hit me up some questions. Rumors about Antonio Brown in what? All right. I don't know of any team that will want Antonio Brown. And if they do, they're stupid. But then again, we see stupidity in the NBA. We see it in Daryl Morey, the general manager of the 76ers, who is so infatuated with James Harden that he can't think straight. Seriously. Just infatuated with him. All right, here's a good question. Do I think the Nuggets have had too much time before the finals? I do, but generally speaking, that rust only lasts a quarter or two. And I could see Miami stealing game one of this series and then Denver winning four straight. All right. If Miami is able to start this game well, if they're not completely gassed, then I could see them going into Denver and stealing game one. But once Denver gets rolling, and they will, I don't think that Miami is going to win this series. I think this is the Denver Nuggets winning the championship. I really do. I just read the story on this. Diamond Sports is not able to make their next payment. And so MLB is going to put the games on MLB TV, and they're going to work with some other outlets. This is going to become the norm, not the exception. Bally Sports is filing bankruptcy. They have a lot of local regional networks, and they're going to be in trouble from what I am reading. So and here's the deal. It's going to cost, I believe they said $9.95 a month to subscribe on the MLB TV package, or $79, I believe is what the figure was for the whole year. And so this is going to be the norm coming up. All right, get used to this. You're going to have to start paying to watch your local teams. Absolutely. All right, I do see expansion to Seattle. I'm not so sure about Vegas. All right, I do see it coming to Seattle. Adam Silver, when he's asked about it, said it's not being really discussed right now. I mean, you could have a team go to Seattle tomorrow, and it would be packed. It's a major market. It would do very well. I don't think there's any question about that. You know, the question is, do you see expansion with what would be a very hefty expansion fee, or do you see an existing team move out of the market? Like, to me, New Orleans shouldn't have an NBA team. You know, they shouldn't be in New Orleans. They really shouldn't. All right, let's move along and get to this question. Do I think with the $500 million the Warriors have to pay in luxury tax, you sign all of these players and it's about wanting him to go out on top? You know, I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes there. Okay, all I know is he had a hell of a run. The owner signs off on contracts. The owner makes the decision on whether they're going to pay the luxury tax or not the general manager. And so that's not on Bob Myers, okay? That's not on Bob Myers. You know, I was just listening to JT the Brick today, and he said he was in the Raiders facility earlier today, and Jimmy G's in there working out, doing everything he's supposed to do, and Brick came out and said that he's going to be ready for training camp. So the answer to that is no. He's going to be ready to go for training camp, according to Brick, who saw him today in the facility, and he said everything is completely on schedule. You know, we'll find out. Well, I've said this for years, okay? When you start mixing politics and religion and everything else in the sports, you're going to have a problem, okay? Pride Night has been a nightmare for a lot of professional organizations because of the way they've handled it. We saw it this year in the National Hockey League with players refusing to wear the Pride warm-up jerseys and electing not to be on the ice with their players. We're now seeing Clayton Kershaw come out and talk about a specific group that had been uninvited and then invited to the next Pride Night. This is not what sports fans want. Sports fans don't give a damn about this stuff, okay? They go and watch the Dodgers for the Dodgers games, okay? They don't go and watch the Dodgers to hear Clayton Kershaw preach about his religious beliefs or his beliefs on the LGBTQ plus community. That's not what the fans are going to the game for, okay? The reality is that franchises have completely boxed themselves in, and they have catered to the woke mob. And what they're doing now is they're catering to every single group that reaches out to them, so they cannot be labeled as discriminatory, sexist, you name it, right? So now you have all kinds of nights. You have Pride Night, all right? You have Mexican Heritage Night. You have Asian Heritage Night. You have this night. You have that night. You have nights for dogs. You have nights for this. You have nights for here. I mean, that's what has happened in the world of pro sports. The NFL does it by putting it on the field. It takes all of us. And racism. To me, it's an insult. It's an insult that I have to watch an NFL game with the slogan "End Racism" on the field. What does that mean? End racism. What's the NFL doing to end racism? Help me out with that. What's the NFL doing? It takes all of us. Really? And yet you have players that are getting arrested often for domestic violence, for assault, for vehicular manslaughter. You know, if you think it really does take all of us, you may want to start with your league first and worry about the fans after that. I am grateful that I root for a team in the National Football League, the New York Giants, who do not have any social messages on the back of their helmets. There's no choose love. There's no stop hate. There's no it takes all of us. There's no Black Lives Matter. No, there's nothing. The Giants, as an organization, don't put up with that nonsense, okay? Everyone is going to look the same on the field. Your equipment is your equipment. It's not for writing messages. I'm a huge fan of that as a fan of the New York Giants. And by the way, there are other teams that do that as well. So to answer your question, okay, sports teams have put themselves in a corner, all right? And the wokeness of the United States has absolutely changed the way you watch sports now. And me too, period. It just has. That's the reality of this situation. I'm not a fan of it. And yes, stop hate. Maybe the NFL should stop hate first before they put it on the back of their helmets, right? Maybe Alvin Kamara should have had that all over his gear before he assaulted, allegedly, an individual that required hospitalization, among other things. Of course, I say allegedly, but it's on video. I saw it, you saw it, and we can go on and on. And there are many others, okay? But, yeah, stop hate. Great. Maybe the NFL needs to figure out how to do that in their league first before they jam it down everyone's throats, all right? All right, here we go with this one. Grant, Lakers, Suns, and Memphis have 1 or 2 years. Do you think the Kings can advance more in the playoffs and potentially win a championship? Well, I don't know about the Lakers, Suns, and Memphis have 1 or 2 years. I don't know how you can make that statement, especially Memphis. We don't know what's going on with them with John Morant. In order for the Kings to win a championship, we know what they're going to have to do, right? They're going to need that third player, a Steven Adams type of a player. Not Steven Adams necessarily, but that type of a player. All right, you're going to need that. You're going to need a veteran backup point guard. You can't expect De'Aaron Fox to have an injury-free year like he had this year. So when Fox gets injured, you better have somebody that is capable of running the team. Davion Mitchell is too sporadic for me, all right, in terms of running the team. I think that's a need that they really need. All right, what other questions do you have for me here on our open forum Q&A? And while we get ready for some more questions, I want to tell you about Bennett's, Roseville, Sacramento, and coming to Rockland very soon. Their prime seafood and steak, their weekend brunch, their weekend prime rib. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. You can check out their entire menu. Over 50 different types of wine available by the glass for you at Bennett's. Roseville, Eureka, and Lead Hill Road, Howe and Fair Oaks in Sacramento, and coming to the Blue Oaks Town Center soon in Rockland. That's Bennett's. Yes, indeed. Bennett's. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. All right. Here we are. More questions right here on this open forum Q&A. For the record, I like the Denver Nuggets winning this series in 5. I think they're going to win this series in 5. All right, people have been talking about DeMar DeRozan. Uh, yeah, I don't know how that's going to happen. What are you going to have to give up to get DeMar DeRozan? You know, I'm not so sure about that. I'm really not. You know, listen, I have a lot of faith, and I think you should too, in Monty McNair. I mean, he's done a really good job putting this team together. I mean, he really has. He's done a hell of a job. So let him continue. All right. Let him continue and do the thing. All right. What are your predictions for the NBA Finals? We got Nuggets are going to win in 7. What do you think? All right. What do you think? You think the Nuggets win? First of all, is there anybody that's on the stream right now that is picking the Miami Heat to win? Anyone think Miami is going to win this series? No, nobody really picked them to win against Boston. Do you think they are going to be able to win this series against the Denver Nuggets? All right. Yes, I've talked about John Mara. It is abusive. The NFL doesn't give a damn about their fans. John Mara, co-owner of the New York Giants, very, very outspoken about this. And the NFL, they don't care about their fans. You know, to be able to flex some Thursday night games at the end of the season is ridiculous. It really is. All right, we got Denver in 6. We got a gentleman's sweep. What else? Anybody out there picking the Miami Heat to win this series? All right. Anyone out there? I don't think a lot of people are picking Miami. Obviously, they're the underdogs. That is for sure. All right. I want to let everyone know that tomorrow, and you know what? You're right. They do need some respect. You know, they beat Bucks, they beat the Celtics. You're absolutely correct. You know, they're not chopped liver. All right. And Eli's right. You can't rule out the Miami Heat. But with that said, he's taken Denver in 6. But you're exactly right. You can't rule out Miami. All right. All right. Somebody said, if you say we need to upgrade point guard over Mitchell, who should we target this offseason as an upgrade to that position? I don't have a specific name for you. I just think it's a specific need. I can't throw out a name. Well, this guy, that guy. I just think that they need an upgrade at that position. And they have surprised everyone, the Miami Heat. You're absolutely correct. They have. And they love that role. And no one's expecting them to win. Nobody expected them to beat Boston. Guess what? Here they are playing in the NBA Finals. All right? And, yeah, the Heat do win on the road. You're exactly right. But I'll tell you right now, Denver's going to win on the road too. All right? Denver's too good. They'll win on the road too. I mean, the way Nikola Jokic is playing, all right? The way Nikola Jokic is playing, it's hard for me to imagine Denver not winning this series. All right? Who do I feel strongly will not be back in Sacramento next year? I don't think Rashawn Holmes is going to be back in Sacramento. So I would think that's one for sure. And you can't keep everybody. But, I mean, I would say that would be one guy. I could see Davis not being back on Sacramento next year. You know, they'll have a little bit of a different roster. I wouldn't make too many changes. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't make too many changes here. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Add to it. All right? Add to it. Don't subtract. You don't get better by losing good players. You know, I've been asked this question, and it's really hard for me because of different eras. And in not any specific order, you know, to me, Bill Russell is on that list. Magic's on that list. LeBron's on that list. Michael Jordan's on that list. Larry Bird's on that list. And that's that, you know, again, that's just off the top of my head. But you can't have your top 5 and not have Michael Jordan and LeBron James on there. That's an absolute given. People say, well, what about Kobe? Well, you could put Kobe on there, but I'm putting Bill Russell on there as a center. But again, you know, Magic to me is one of the 5 best players of all time. So that's 4. Then do you put Bird on there? Do you put Wilt Chamberlain on there? Do you put Kobe on there? It's very difficult. All right. Very difficult. Well, thank you. You know, you never know what can happen in the future. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I do really appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. All right. Somebody says they want to see Kyle Kuzma on the team next year. I'd be fine with that. Absolutely. Scottie Pippen's comments were taken a little bit out of context. He said before he got there that Jordan was a horrible player, which is wrong. He wasn't a horrible player before Pippen got there, but he said he was a one-on-one player. He said before he got there. He didn't say he was a horrible player when he was there. He said before he got there. I don't agree with that. I don't think he was a horrible player before Pippen got there. But his point was he changed when Phil got there and Pippen got there and they added to the team. He became a different player. The way he said it was wrong. I mean, he does come across as being bitter because, it's absurd to say that he was a horrible player before he got there. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Ridiculous. Come on. Ridiculous. All right, I want to tell you about some programming. Tomorrow, I'll be on Listen App with my Open Forum Wednesday. And then I'll be back here on Thursday. We'll do this again. You like this time or do you want it earlier for most of you? You like 7 o'clock Pacific? You want it a little bit later? Well, what do you think works best in the schedule? I can do it at any time. You like 7 o'clock or which would earlier be better, like 5 o'clock? Or do you think maybe an hour later, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? I'm good. I'll go with any time you want. You think it's fine at 7 o'clock? All right. I'd love to get your feedback because I really want to make this where, people can check it out. All right, 7 p.m. I like that. This time's good. Someone says mix it up. Well, I will have to mix it up sometimes based on my schedule. All right. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. I can mix it up once in a while, but it will only be, 7 or 8 is cool. I'm out of work by then. Well, good. I like 7 p.m. 7 p.m. is good. All right, we're getting a pretty good feedback for 7 p.m. So maybe I'll keep it at 7 p.m. for a little while. And then, if I mix it up based on my schedule or what have you, then for sure. Another 7 o'clock. So, yeah, sometimes we'll go 30 minutes. Sometimes we'll go an hour, whatever. Okay? Whatever. It depends what's going on. There will be some times when I want to watch a game. Like I'm telling you right now, I'll be watching the Stanley Cup Finals. So, I'm not going to go head-to-head with the NBA Finals, and I'm not going to go head-to-head with the Stanley Cup Finals. So we'll make some adjustments as well based on, the big games going on. And again, we got the finals in each sport. So, I have to keep that in mind. All right. Have to keep that in mind. I'll tell you one thing, though, is I really appreciate everyone's support. You're freaking awesome. And again, if you're new to this and you have not yet subscribed, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and also give me a thumbs up, hit the like button. All of these things mean a lot in terms of the way they monitor what we do and the algorithms. And so it would help me out a lot. And I really appreciate that. But I love your support. I love the questions and everything else. And yeah, well, this is the second finals. It's not their first. It's their second, Eli. They made it in their inaugural season, and here they are back. And they sell out every game, and they're going crazy, Thank you for letting everyone know about that. YouTube TV NFL Sunday ticket $100 off until June 6th. That's good to know. All right? That's good to know. I'm probably not going to do a post-game show following the NBA Finals. So I'm probably not. I appreciate that, though. Not going to do it. All right. Yeah, you know what? Good idea. When the clocks, well, not the clock, when we get to, June 21st, the solstice, and we have the longest day of the year, and then people are outside longer in, July and August. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Thank you, David. Appreciate the support. Really do. Thank you very much. All right. I appreciate everyone. Don't forget, tomorrow, Open Forum Wednesday on Listen App at 5 o'clock Pacific. And then I'll be back here on Thursday. All right. I'll be back here on Thursday. Well, it's just the way the scheduling works out with the networks. Yeah, I don't know why either. I really don't. But it's the way it works out. And I don't know why you would go head-to-head either. As far as the NHL goes, I don't understand that as well. All right. Appreciate you all. Thank you very much. And don't forget, tomorrow over on Listen App, I will be with you at 5 o'clock. Enjoy your Tuesday evening. So long, everybody, and thanks for being here on If You Don't Like That.